It's been about a year since I started making videos and publishing them on my YouTube channel, and currently I'm sitting at 106 videos that I have published in that last year. Now, this doesn't include the videos that I've published for other channels that I've contracted work for, or the number of videos that I have published for the Lyricasts course. Needless to say, I've put a lot of time into figuring out how I can record videos and knowing that I don't have that much time to do that. So all the time has been spent in how can I click record and have a good enough video with just minimal editing. So I wanted to walk through what my process looks like. What tools do I use and how do I go from A to Z? How do I get from this video right here, this idea, into a fully published video on YouTube? Well, join me. So it starts with the intro. That intro that you just watched for that video probably took me the longest that it's going to take for this whole entire video, because I usually say it and repeat it multiple times until it sounds right. And hopefully I can do it in one take without having to cut up bits and pieces of each take. And so maybe that's 5 or 6 times before I get it right. Maybe it's 20 or 30 times. Sometimes I delete a whole video and just restart it again. But that's the first part. Then I go into actually editing the rest of the video. So after I have recorded the full video, I'll jump into how I record it with OBS. Right now, you're going to see a lot of me on the screen, but hopefully I can give you a taste of how this works. So this is me in my screencast setting. I'm pulling over OBS right now, prepared for a lot of me. This is my OBS settings right here. You can see here I have multiple scenes. Adjust my mic real quick. You can see here that I have multiple scenes, each one specific to how I'm recording and shooting a video. So I have a full video. Hello. I have a full video with a background, which is basically just the screen that you're seeing, but with a little bit of padding around it, so it looks like the rest of my shots. For example, if I'm in the screencast mode or I am in side-by-side vertical. Now, I don't usually use those transitions when I'm recording, but it's nice to have them if they happen to be there or if I'm live streaming. So side-by-side vertical, everything that I do kind of is, again, it's optimized for how can I quickly record something and go from minimal edits to published and it still look pretty good. And so things like screencast is my whole entire Mac OS screen, my laptop screen. I have it downsized to 720p, but that's the HIDPI, which is basically just a high depth version of 720p. So it's automatically a lot bigger. So things like text and my code editor right here, for example, or my terminal, I should say, it's automatically just going to be bigger than any other screen, which means I don't have to constantly resize up or resize down something. The side-by-side vertical, because I use raycast, so any window, I don't, when it's in full screencast mode, I just maximize it. When it's in side-by-side, I do Command Option T, or Control Option T, I should say. And this pushes, it looks like OBS is too wide, so I'll bring over my terminal. So Command Option T automatically sizes it up exactly how I want it. This just makes it so that when I'm in this layout, I don't have to mess around with, is this the right setting? No, just Command Option T. It's I believe it's the last 2/3 for window management. Same thing when I'm in screencast mode right here. And this is just Control Option Enter. The way that I've done this within raycast is, let's see, configure command for raycast for window management. And then if I go to window management, I can say I want a gap of small 16 pixels right here. That just means whenever I do anything like maximizing a screen or putting it over to the side, it's automatically going to leave a small gap. And I have my camera layout with a small gap as well. Bringing back OBS. The camera layout, we'll go to screencast size right here. The camera layout is done through multiple, I watched an OBS tutorial and that really looks cool because I wanted the rounded borders of my webcam and then a little bit of a shadow. And what's happening there is I have this for each time I'm showing my webcam, so side-by-side vertical or screencast, and even the full video with a background. All of those have a specific, I'm going to screencast again. All of those have a specific, let's see if we can do filters. This is a good thing to talk about. All of them have a color correction and a LUT already added. This is so I don't have to do as minimal, actually I never do any color correction for my videos after recording them. It's just all added on while I'm recording. So color correction and a LUT, just some settings, and then the LUT basically is just added at 16.69%. And that is a LUT for my specific camera, which is a Lumix G7 that I have running into Camlink. I don't think it's the 4K. It might be the 4K, but I'm not running it 4K. I'm just running it 1080p. So the camera, if we go to properties, it's the Camlink. It is the 4K. So yeah, Camlink 4K. And then I have some filters. Yes, image, mask, and blend. So this is basically, it's going to be hard to see if this works, but if I remove this, it's the full length of the image. The image mask is basically just a rounded rectangle. And then that's what allows me for this background. It's basically a blurred image, the same size as my camera. So underneath every camera instance that is in every scene, I have a rounded masked image. And then I have a background blur that's a little bit bigger with just basically a black image. If I was to go into browse for this blur image right here, you can see blur image. Yes, you can see it's just a black box. Okay, so that is how I get the webcam rounded blur. Again, everything is optimized for how can I record as quickly as possible and then have it be ready to go. So I have as little editing as possible as well. Everything that is piped in, so audio is going through a Shure SM7B, and it's basically processed before it even gets into the computer. I'm using what's a DBX286S, which is kind of like a microphone processor and preamp, and I just have that going through my audio interface. So that way I don't do any audio editing. It's all done through this. Sometimes I boost the gain. Most of the time when I'm in like maybe this side-by-side vertical, or when I am in the full video, then usually I need to bump up the gain on my microphone a little bit. I do that in post, or the next tool that I'm using kind of also does it for me when I publish a video. Okay. Anytime I am in any mode, screencast, side-by-side, vertical, I have my keyboard sounds. I actually don't even think I have them on right now. Let's turn them on, and they should be turned on. So it is through this program called Clack. It's a keyboard. Everyone asks me this on almost every single video. What's your keyboard? It's just a simple Mac OS keyboard. The difference is I have it piped in through a app called Clack. Let's pull that up right here. It's called tryclack.com, I believe. Yes, tryclack.com. Satisfying sound with every keystroke. I don't remember the exact price. It was $5, and it has a couple of different sounds on it. Looks like it has a Japanese black, crystal purple, Oreo, cardboard, and cream. I currently am using the crystal purple sound. So if I was to type on my keyboard, testing, let's make sure nose is going through, testing, 1, 2, 3. It's all just being piped straight from that Clack app into OBS. And how am I doing that? I'm actually doing that through a program called Loopback. Loopback basically takes that sound, and because it's not able to, in OBS, to be able to just pipe it directly in, I basically say I'm creating a new sound source that then OBS can observe, can see. And then anytime I'm typing, I can see it here in Loopback as well as in OBS. I do turn that down a little bit just so it's not too distracting. Sometimes I bring that up and mess around with it depending on the type of video. Okay, that's Clack. That's my keyboard sound. That's my audio. That's my camera. That should be everything for if I was recording a video. Most of the time it's just in one of those three angles, one of those three scenes. I believe that might be it. Yeah, I guess for some of like the settings that I do, I have tested this a lot. I gotten help from other streamers and recorders and YouTubers and stuff like that. And most of it is just done through the Apple hardware encoder and then some custom muxer settings afterwards with a bitrate of 80 and CRF. Probably not that important. I probably should up the bitrate a little bit because sometimes my text is a little blurry when I'm in a code editor, for example, but it's worked well so far. Okay, I've recorded a whole video. I've done the intro, which I said is the longest part of the video. How do I start editing? 90% of the time, I'm only editing in one app and then bringing it into a different app. The first app I use is Descript. So let's bring that up. So Descript. Let's go ahead and open a new project. Actually, why don't we do that? We'll do a new video project. Let me maximize this here. Sometimes, depending on how big the app is, it doesn't maximize all the way and it doesn't maximize perfectly because sometimes it's only meant for a specific screen. Looks like this one is not letting me do it. We'll call it good there. I am going to upload a file. Usually I just have it as all one big MP4 file. Right now this is saving as a .mov, and then as soon as I click stop recording on this particular video, we'll get a full MP4 file. Let me go ahead and bring up one that I recorded specifically for, I do need a better way to start organizing this. I'm not as organized as possible. So what I would normally do is even before a video starts, I come up with an idea. If I pull up my linear board, and it's not letting me drag it over, and then I have a whole bunch of ideas. Now this is what kickstarts my video creation. Usually I'm like, okay, this would be a good one. How I make a video, for example, and that's the idea that kickstarts. I have an idea of what that thumbnail will look like, what that title will look like, and it's probably just going to be how I make a video. And then I start recording. I do a little bit of prep depending on how in-depth each video that I'm recording is, but that's the start of it. And then after I record, we get pushed into here. So I'm just going to continue to let this process. It basically pushes it up to Descript and then transcribes everything so I can edit as quickly as possible, like a Word document, for example. So this one we called like new Laravel things. I'm just going to say part 2 because I've already made this particular video. It's still transcribing, so you're going to see the future me in like 2 minutes. Okay, that took a little bit longer than expected. I don't know why. It's probably just because my internet's being a little bit slow right now. But then I get all of the script, basically all the recording, all in one file where I can just do basic edits. This is just mostly cuts that I do. And I try to do as little as possible because, again, I try to do as clean of takes as possible, especially in the middle, in the intro. You can even see here, even though this was a really quick video that I made, I still mess up a lot. You probably can't hear the sound because I don't have it routed just right now, but you can see here that I said all of the framework updates and features that were announced. I said all of and then I even paused and I said all of the framework updates and features that were announced. I tried it another time here, and I finally got it right here. And this is just me trying to figure out what the best way to do an intro is. Probably for this video, I think I did 3 or 4 different takes, probably even longer, until I got the right one. And that probably takes the most, but it's easy for me to see, okay, which one did I finally do? I try to pause in between each one, and I would just kind of cut this, and that would be my start. And we're good. And that's probably what I started with as well. Descript has an ability to basically remove filler words like this like word. I don't remove too much, but I'll go through and remove some, especially if it feels weird. There's other times when I also pause for a little bit longer. Sometimes I pause when I'm thinking and I try to stay in one place so that when I actually get to the thought that I'm going to do, I can just remove it. Descript has a way to, I can right click on one of these like 3 lines. I can right click and say edit word gap, short, natural, none, or set manually. I do that quite a bit. There's probably a, set manually is Command G. I just usually right click and find those long ones. So right here, you can see kind of, I would probably leave that, but here, anytime I have a little bit of a pause, I try to cut those out. I try not to make it too obvious that I'm doing a lot of cuts. Of course, there's sometimes where I just stumble over my words and I'm an idiot and I can't get it right. Here, I did a really long pause for some reason. And I said, I got the chance. And then I just paused. And it's probably because I couldn't think of what the word was that I was going to say. So I said one other thing. So usually I can say, okay, yeah, one other thing. I started here. I'm just going to remove this and it'll be good to go. And then it starts to look like this. So it is a sharp cut, but I'm okay with something like that. And so once I go through my whole video, I don't watch everything. Like most of the time, I'm like, okay, if that was a good enough take where I didn't stop, it's probably good enough. And then after I clean out all of the parts where I pause for too long, I call it good. Most of the time, I would just publish and export. This is only going to be in 1080p because I'm doing a shot of downscaled 1080p that I'm recording, and I might just push that to YouTube when I export. Okay, this is me editing the video that you're watching of me editing the video that you were watching. In addition to when I edit videos in Descript and publish them, they're still 1080p, but because I shot them in downscale 1080p, since it's an HIDPI 720p screen, it's a 4K camera that is recording to 1080p. I usually upscale to 4K with either using my Final Cut Pro and just put it into a 4K timeline, or I use FMPEG within my terminal. And I have a little script that's I have in my notes that basically just converts any video that I make into a 4K video. And the reason why I do that is twofold. One, there's no downside to it because I'm shooting in downscaled 1080p. Two, if you upload a 4K video to YouTube, the 1080p version is going to be better because it uses a different converter or a different, I forget the exact word, but it uses a different process to compile and to process that video, so it doesn't diminish the quality as much. If you're uploading a 4K video and you watch the 1080p version of that 4K video, even if it's just a upscaled 1080p, it still looks better. Now back to me editing the original video instead of me editing this video that you're watching. The other times, especially when I'm doing any kind of Laravel official videos, or I want to do an intro or do any kind of music or have some kind of transitions in between each shot, I'm going to export as a timeline and push that into Final Cut Pro for any editing. It's not really useful for me to show you anything in there because there's not much. I usually just use that as a way to balance audio as well as add some music and any kind of like title slides that you might see, especially in the Laravel official videos. But when I export here as a video, it usually, because I set the audio to normalize the volume to -14 LUFS, all of my audio, regardless if I'm in a shot like this screencast or if I'm in the full video and usually a little bit farther away from the microphone, I'm not going to move it because I'm going back. It sounds decent, and that's what I want in the end. I want it to be, I click record, I do these minimal edits in Descript, and then I press publish and upload. So after I publish, let's bring up my browser again. What I would do is go into my YouTube channel and start to upload. So once I have that finalized video, I would go to YouTube. I would upload a video and I would add it. I would add my specific title that I would do. I would do a description. Usually I'm taking descriptions from other specific videos and just modifying it from there. And the last thing that I usually do when uploading a video is upload the transcript, just so that people have the not transcript, yeah, the subtitles, I would say, and then tags as well. Tags is one thing that I actually use Descript for too. If I click on Underlord, which is their AI feature, I have this snippet where I can just add these tags, which is basically give me a list of tags for this video that are relevant to the objects of the video, optimized for YouTube for clicks and engagement and reach. They should be comma separated. So for this one specifically, it gives me all of this. This is just to get my video out in front of as much people as possible. I usually edit some of these. It does a decent job, and tags don't do all that much for videos. It's more about the content itself and your description, but this gets me a little bit more of the way there. And lastly, even though a lot of people start with thumbnail, I end with the thumbnail, and usually I record or I use some pictures from a shot like this. I record a bunch, and recently I've been using pic.ping.gg from Theo T3. It works great for me, and I basically just grab all these shots and I upload them. I take one and I go into my Figma file. I have a complete list of all of the thumbnails. I'll bring up the screencast view. All of the thumbnails that I have ever done, all in one Figma file. That's probably going to slow down my computer right now, but okay, this is zoomed out as far as we can possible. You can see here, this is the first thumbnail that I ever did. And I slowly went up, and some videos have more than one. So this one, for example, had 3. This one had 3. Sometimes, and most of the time I try to do at least 2, and I use YouTube's QA feature, basically to say, okay, which one did the best? For example, if I was to go back into my most recent video, my personal Livewire starter kit, it should show me which one's performing the best. So we can take a look at which one I did. And again, I'm not a great designer, but I usually just take a picture, throw an image behind it. These were the 3 that I created for my personal starter kit video. If I had to guess which one is performing best right now, it would be this one or this one. I would very highly doubt if we look right now and it's this one, maybe I don't know anything about YouTube and you should disregard this video. View test report. Yep. Thumbnail 3, doing much better. 38%, 33%, 28.2%. Sometimes after like the first day, I'll just go ahead and stop and set it. I'm going to do that right now for this video. So we're stopping and setting it. Usually within the first hour, if it is not performing as well as I thought it would, which right here on the dashboard, we get a little view as a creator. You can see based on the last 10 videos, how well is it performing? I'm not optimizing or trying. Most of this stuff that I do is just for fun. In the sense of the videos that I'm picking are usually ones that I think will do pretty well, but I also am excited to record them. And this one, same thing. It was just one that I recorded mostly for Twitter, but I just published it to YouTube as well. 5 out of 10 is perfectly fine. If it was anywhere down here with like 100, 200 views after 13 hours, I would probably change the thumbnail and change the title. And I've learned that those 2 things can go a long way. Even for videos that have not done very well in the past, some of my older videos, I might go back and just change the title. There are videos that I've published that are still getting a decent amount of views. And even the one that I didn't think was going to do that well is my VS Code video. And that one is almost that, 90,000 views. So really, you never know how well a video is going to take off. And I've just learned that the best way to do it is just find what little things work best for the people who are watching your stuff or who might be watching your stuff in the future. There's probably people who are going to see my Why I Choose Laravel video, even though it's almost a year old. It still gets a lot of views each day, each week. Let's go ahead and see like how many views it's gotten. We'll go here and we'll take a look at the analytics. Yeah, it's gotten 33,000 views, and it just keeps going up. So this is like how many views per, this is almost at 365 days, 328 days, and it still gets, it's hard to tell. So it's gotten 83 views in the last 48 hours. It's evergreen content. It's content that people are going to consistently watch. Even if, 10 years from now, if you only have 100 subscribers right now, 10 years from now, you might only have 200, 1,000, whatever it might be. Your first videos are probably still going to be getting views. It's just how it works. So try to make them as good as possible. Then, even though your next videos are going to be even better, and hopefully mine are as well. So after I make that Figma file for my thumbnail, I publish that and I'm good to go. And then I just try to learn and iterate and improve. And so the next video is hopefully better, and the next video is hopefully better. But overall, I just grab videos that I know I'm excited about either diving in to learn more. For example, on my list, it was, I'm going to look into the Blade Tailor package. I'm going to look at Livewire WireSpy. I have a PR up for that, so I'm going to wait until that might get merged. And then I'm going to look at the Prism LLM for Laravel as well. It's stuff that I just find and I'm like, oh, this would be cool to dive into, to look at for videos. Or even if I'm learning something more in depth, like I'm wanting to record some videos on me learning Rails and me learning Phoenix. It's stuff that I know I would enjoy watching, or I would enjoy just creating. And you can go ahead and do that same thing. So hopefully this is a long kind of meta video of how I do stuff, how I press play, how I record, how I take all of that content, push it together and push it out to you, but hopefully it encourages you to keep building and to keep creating.